Hey everybody, and welcome back to 31 Days of Indie Horror. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I've got a special guest.
Brandi Lynn Dalton.
Brandi was back. I'll just say this. The end of the time was really hard to just cram everybody. I was able to get a lot of people I wasn't expecting, but a lot of problems came up. People had to cancel last minute, and all of these things were happening. I was like, oh, no, 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 I gotta get this done. And
Yeah.
and then I was almost like, I'll just do a couple by myself. One person even said they were going to be able to do it yesterday, and then they weren't able to, so I had to do a solo one, and that was fine. I knew at some point I may have to do that. But I asked Brandi had said something on on my post about, having her back on. So I said, sure, let me see if she's available. She was,
Absolutely.
and it was like very last minute. I mean, you literally just finished watching it.
Yeah.
I finished watching it pretty much like maybe a half hour before you did, maybe less. No, a half hour before you did, I think. It's
Yeah.
about 8 o'clock that I finished it. And I was surprised.
I was
Very,
pleasantly surprised.
I know. I was very, after we had done, if everybody remembers, if you guys watched earlier, Brandy and I did Alice in Terrorland, which we were not impressed by. And I kept thinking about it today of how cool it still would have been if they just took Alice into the woods and had her meet all of these
Characters and yeah.
characters, but made them horrific. The Cheshire Cat was really scary, but it was like a guy dressed up like a cat, or something. That
Yeah.
would be scary if that's what
Yeah.
you read it to. Things like that, they could have made it, but the choices that they made in that movie didn't work. The choices that they made in this did. I'm not sure if the movie that we're going to be talking about is Hayride to Hell.
Yeah.
And it is a 2022 film by, let me see, who is the director? Director is Dan Lance, and you would probably know that because I think there's a lot of Lance people in the credits. Or so. Maybe. But he directed this. He also did a movie called Alpha Rift. Um, that starred Lance Henriksen. That's awesome. Um, And and then let's see who else. Or what else? Blood Runners. Oh, he's the director of Blood Runners. Okay, that was an Ice-T movie. There's like vampires
Oh,
and it was like vampire in the Prohibition era, I think,
oh,
so
okay.
and that's something I've been wanting to do for like Indie Film Cafe or something like that at some point. I just never got around to it yet, but it was on Tubi for a while. I don't know if it still is, and it looked really, really good. And I saw some of it and was like, oh, okay, I could get into this. So then he did a short film called Space Spoof. I'm guessing he's done some other stuff. Cash Storm. I don't. Whoa, is that a storm that filled with cash? That'd be awesome. Whoa, it
Yeah,
is.
tornado of cash.
Yes, it's like Cashnado. That is awesome.
It's a brand new movie.
Bank robbers. That's the title. That should have been the title. Why did they do Crash Storm? It should have been Crashnado.
Yeah.
Uh, Cashnado. I would have watched that. What is it? Bank robbers crash their getaway car in the path of a tornado. All the money gets sucked into a funnel cloud. Two scientists rescue the robbers along with a chatty influencer and embark on a chronic or comical odyssey. Um,
Okay.
so that's a movie, Cash Storm. But yeah, he
Yeah.
directed that. He directed Alice and the Vampire Queen, Bloodlust Zombies. He directed a TV series called Ninja Babes from Space, and a bunch of other things. So, dude's prolific. He's done a bunch of different projects. Um, let's see what else. He was not the writer of the film. Christina Chadwick was one of the writers. And that's her only. I think it's her only claim to fame. Was she it says she was an actress. She was Bride of Franken Farmer. I don't know which one that was though.
Huh. I
there's a
don't
few
know.
people in the Hayride stuff, that.
Yeah.
So I can't remember off the top of my head all the wacky kooky characters. And then Robert Lang was the other writer. And did he? It would have been funny if he was like Franken Farmer, So they had like the two writers as the
Yeah.
and like married to each other or whatever. But no, he was. It doesn't look like he acted in it. And they have a making of, so I'm guessing that's on a DVD or something. I hope. I would watch that. I want to buy it at some point because it is a really good movie. Um, and it stars Bill Moseley. Were you familiar with Bill Moseley before this?
Mm-mm.
So Bill Moseley's claim to fame in the beginning was Chop Top. It was a character he played in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Okay.
And he was oh man, he's the wackiest character in there. Like just flat out just goofy, comical, like nut
I'll have
character.
to pay attention to that next time I watch it.
Well, then he was also in the House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects and Three from Hell movies from Rob Zombie. He his That's actually really what people know him like really today, which is Otis. Um, from those like there's Otis, Firefly, Babe or whatever, Baby, all this stuff.
Mm.
So, all those characters. So anyway, he's been in a bunch of stuff. I don't even know. I need to go into his stuff, but like Repo the Genetic Opera and a bunch of movies. He's kind of he's in conventions a lot. He does like horror conventions, and he's also very much known in the indie community. Like, if you pay his, rate, which, is probably a pretty good rate, for him being a good actor, he'll come out and he gives your movie credibility. Now,
Yes.
usually in that case, then the film is a what is it? Like they use his name for up at the
Hmm.
top of the movie or an and credit,
Hmm.
and he's only in it for what, like 5 minutes or something usually.
Right. Yeah.
This movie, he was in the whole fucking thing. I
Okay.
Yeah, I mean he was Farmer Sam, so I mean he was the lead. So that was
Okay,
a
this was Sam. Okay, yeah,
yeah.
Sam's my hero.
Yeah, Sam's the best. He's the best character in the whole movie. Then the sheriff, Sheriff Jubal,
Yeah.
was played by Kane Hodder.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Kane
I know.
Hodder,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's Jason in the Jason, like the Friday the 13th, 7 through 10. So he did not come back for more other ones, but I think like all the fans love him and
Hmm.
wanted him to keep coming back because, he's Jason to a lot of people's eyes. He's also Victor Crowley in Hatchet movies. He's been in like he did the stunts for Seven. Um, he even has a documentary that I highly recommend everybody watching. It's called From Hell to Bat or from from Hell
From
to
Hell and Back.
From Hell and Back. Yeah. Why
Hmm.
would I want to say two
I
Hell
don't
and Back
know.
or something? Two Hell and Back, something like that.
Yeah.
But it was a documentary about his life and about his stunt career and how unfortunately one year he did a stunt to show off to a journalist, and it was a fire stunt which he's done like millions of times before. Unfortunately, he didn't have the right equipment, and there it was really dry out in the desert, and he
Uh-oh.
got burned badly
Uh-oh.
all over his body, like severely, and he had to go to the burn ward. He was there. I mean, he could have died, basically. Glad he didn't, because
Mm.
I got to actually hang out with him at conventions, and then he after then he the whole documentary is about how he did that and then how he got back out and eventually uh for Jason, I think it was Friday the 13th part 7, he agreed to do another fire stunt. It was his first time doing another fire stunt since the one that almost killed him.
Yeah.
And he was like, but that time, I mean, he had more equipment and, he had trust and everything. But even the director was like, you don't need to do that. We can get somebody else to put on the
I mean,
Jason
it's
mask and do it. And
that
uh,
person. Yeah.
but I think he wanted to do it just to prove to himself that, he's not scared anymore to do stuff like that. And
Faces fears.
he faces fears and he did it. And he still does fire stunts. I think he did one for Hatchet, or at least one or more. And I think I'm not sure. There was a fire for him. He got set on fire in this movie, but I don't think it was. I feel like that was CGI fire. Like, did you
Hmm.
feel that way too, or did that look like real to you?
Like kind of looked real to me, but
I don't know. Like, I mean, maybe it's not. Maybe
I
it's
don't
not.
know.
So who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, but some of it looked like it was fake, but I'm not sure. And I
Yeah.
can't say that for sure. But and if it wasn't, that's awesome that he was, he's happy to do it again.
Yeah.
Whenever I see him do it, I'm just always like, oh man. Like the dude,
They're crazy.
he's the one who wants to, he's the one who wants to do that. So anyway, to go back to the movie itself. So Kane Hodder, those are the two big stars. I don't think there was anybody else in this movie.
I didn't
Uh
recognize anybody else.
yeah, that's big. Um
Hmm.
yeah, I don't see anybody that I know of, but everybody did a fantastic job. Um the let's see. So there's the deputy who was like sort of the dimwit guy that
Hmm.
they kept calling. Deputy Dimwit or whatever. Deputy Dermot Nixler is Graham Wolf, and I liked him. Thought he was great. I liked. Let's see, who else was in the movie? The characters like there's. Did you notice that I guess I guess she was a mayor because it said re-elect her at the end,
Yes,
but
yes.
her last name was Butt. I guess. Like it was Butte. I'm not sure if that's Butte or
Yeah, Buter. Yeah.
yeah. I
Was
don't think they ever called her by her last name, did they?
I don't think so.
But yeah, she
Was that
was I'm gonna guess mayor of the town. Would you say that?
I get no, was that the lady at the very end? Not the very, very end, but the one that was in the cornfield? Was that her?
I think so.
I think that was her. The one that had
Uh,
the big diamond ring on?
if it wasn't her, because I kept getting her mixed up with the Karen chick.
Yeah, yeah.
And her name was they had her name actually be Karen, I think, you know. So they,
Oh.
yeah, Karen Singleton. So there's
All
Karen
right. Yeah,
Singleton and
he was calling her simpleton
Simpleton.
in the
Yeah.
roast.
By the way, people, there will be spoilers. I already spoiled a little bit with saying that Kane Hodder's character was set on fire, but yeah, there's gonna be spoilers in this movie, in this review. So Shelby Hightower played Patty. I'm not sure. Is Patty I want to say Patty was the girl that basically was the relative of Farmer Sam.
The
So
paramedic.
yeah, the paramedic. I really liked her. Um, and there is Dick Singleton was played by Jared Michael Delaney. Richard Singleton, but he doesn't like to go by Richard. He likes to go by Dick.
Right.
And they have the one big part where they're like high off of that whatever fume stuff or whatever, and he was like, "At least my last name's not Face, Dick Face."
Yeah.
Right? I thought that was funny. There was some good comedy in this movie,
Yeah.
which it
It was
needed
good.
because if this were all so serious, I think I would have hated it. Um, but the fact that there was humor through it, made me just like it a little bit more. Um, then let's see. Truckee was one of the guys. He was the son of the sheriff,
Sheriff, right.
but
Sheriff Jubal.
Jubal, yeah, but he was
Yeah.
the uh he was like the son, and he was I think he's the one that killed the dog.
Is he the one
Um
that beat the dog down?
yeah, to death. And I
Oh,
hated that. Oh, so
yeah,
mad.
that was hard to watch.
I know. I was like, oh man, this movie just went John Wick on us, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was funny. That it did that because I was not expecting that. I was like, but like at the end of the movie, it does say no animals were harmed and that
Yeah.
that the what is
No.
it? The
PETA,
ASPCA is there, you
the
know.
PETA, whatever.
Yeah, I think it's the ASPCA
Uh,
was there to just monitor everything, which I don't know, was it? Like did they have enough money to have that? Like I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, it did look like a kind of expensive movie. There was, ambulances, there was sheriff car, like police cars, there was, um, what is it? There was a whole, farm area, and I bet
Yeah.
that's where a
All the
lot of
farm
it,
equipment, and
yeah, farm equipment,
I think they had an
tractors.
excavator, and what was it, the excavator that picked the cars up, or
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
all
yeah.
that stuff. It was like
Crazy.
this is like either they have money or they got a lot of favors. And I think that's what
Yeah.
it probably was people in the town just said, "Oh, you can use my farm and you can use my excavator, you can use my all the shit in that town."
Yeah.
It's insane.
Crazy.
I loved it.
But it was
Um,
really good.
yeah,
Hmm.
I enjoyed that. And then yeah, so basically the story, I guess, is about this um, this town that has this farm where they have a haunted hayride every year during Halloween. And the town folk want
The
him to
board
just
members.
yeah, the board members just want him
Yeah.
to give up some of his land
Yeah.
to like uh
Or
so that they
development or
yeah,
something. Yeah.
development and they can build some more stuff on their end.
Hmm.
Like like he had a huge land, you know?
Yeah.
Like
250 something acres, wasn't
I
it?
know what I mean,
Yeah.
I understand it's in your family forever, but like
You can give up a couple acres.
yeah, you
Ain't
don't
gonna miss it.
need you don't yeah, I'm sorry, like
Yeah.
all of this doesn't need to happen in real life, you know?
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't need to kill everybody just to make and it would sound like the other townfolk enjoyed doing this stuff because I like
They
so
look forward to it.
yeah,
Yeah.
they were excited. Like they were okay with
Hmm.
it. They were on board. And it made me like kind of like it just kind of made me go, "Oh, okay." Because like him killing people off is like one thing. But then like convincing a whole town like to do this haunted hayride and like murder all of these people that are like trying to ruin it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like murder, like okay, so I've never murdered anyone. I can clearly say that in my, right? Like I've never
Not
ever
mine.
murdered anyone.
Yeah.
Let's let's put that out there. And
Yes,
Britt,
put that out there.
you've never murdered anyone. And so like if we were to get together and do that,
I am the
that would
devil.
that would like that would be our first murder. Unless these people have done this before, which I don't think I mean, there was no talk of it, but like they seem to be easy with just killing somebody, you know? Even
You're
that,
talking
like,
about the people who work for Sam?
no, like even that one woman,
Oh,
that old woman that comes up and just like, you
jabs
know,
her in the eye
jabs her in the eye. And she's like
with
all
her sword,
cackling
with her.
about it. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's really fucked up,
Yeah, that was
Like,
like a cousin or something.
was it?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't hear that part, but
Yeah.
that was
The
just
all in the family type of situation. They're keeping that family farm, man. Gotta
well,
keep pumpkin claws in business.
there is a good reason, an unselfish reason why they do all this, and we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But they're doing all this killing, and I'm just like, all right, and it's all because that the townfolk want him to, like the mayor, the board members, Karen lady who just hates everything and actually says the line, I want to speak to the manager, which, that was, I
That was
mean,
Sam.
yeah, yeah, it was like, that'll be me. Um, which, yeah, it's so funny because obviously that was the parody on the Karen, you know, character
Yeah.
and stuff.
Did you think Sam had like such a positive attitude through like the whole thing? It didn't matter what anybody said or what was happening. He
No,
just stayed like happy-go-lucky the whole time.
he was so fucking
It's like,
happy.
I'm gonna picture a wagon.
And he's telling
Yeah.
jokes beforehand, like he was telling like dad jokes, Buccaneer and
Yeah. Yeah.
all this stuff, and he's just happy with himself,
Yeah.
and then the people are trying to like he gets tased by the
I
deputy.
know. How
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah. I was
Poor
sad
Sam.
too. I and he kept like, it didn't just tase him and whatnot, it actually put him into a
Seizure.
seizure
Yeah.
because of it. Which why wouldn't they just sue the cop? Well, I mean, he says, I guess the witness would be the deputy, and the deputy said he just had a seizure, but like he
Yeah.
saw, him do that or whatever.
Mm.
I guess there's no proof, so he couldn't sue him. So the next thing he can do is kill him, I guess. You know, I mean, I'm not. So I have this discussion with my buddy John Ward about like who deserves to die, because we watch
Mm.
the Saw movies, and that's a big part of the Saw movies is like these people are really messed up that he puts into these traps. He doesn't put like nice people into the traps, like people who don't deserve it. Jigsaw always puts like people who he thinks deserves it. um, my thing is you if somebody does something messed up, they deserve jail time. They don't deserve to be what is it?
Ground up.
Yeah, ground up or killed or hacked or whatever.
Death.
Yeah, or what is it? Or like shot with an arrow or whatever. All these terrible things, hung, like set on fire. Like none of these things deserve to happen to these people. They deserve to be in jail for what they do. And maybe they'll get out and, not learn their lesson and deserve to be put back into jail. And my buddy's idea of that was that like, what if the person is like a cold stone murderer and keeps escaping prison and killing more people? Like, what do you do then? I was like, solitary confinement, keep him in there forever, and make sure that he just can escape. Like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe everybody can figure out how to escape at some point somewhere. It what I'm just saying is
They
you
dig a
sh
tunnel.
yeah, they dig a tunnel or they go through the shafts or something. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
But like
Laundry.
my point is like you can't um people are going to do really effed up things all the time. Like it happens. People are, a lot of people are messed up, you know. And we can't stop psychopaths from necessarily killing somebody unless somehow you know. But then I watch like shows like FBI,
Hmm.
and like the drug dealers that come after them or whatever, and they're trying to kill them, so they get shot and killed, you know. Do I feel anything for those people? No. The other people were protecting themselves. This movie, they're not protecting themselves. They're literally just going on a bloodbath. So,
Yeah.
that's my point with this is I think I don't know if I necessarily like think that this is a cool idea, but the thing that I enjoy, because if this was just a grim revenge story, I'd be bored. But the fact that they have comedy in it and it's fun, like from the beginning to end, I mean, you said I think you said to me when you were watching it that you just started it and it's already really good to you, right?
Hmm.
Like beginning.
Yeah, I was
So
into it. Hmm.
yeah. Um, but then you get a bunch of commercials because it's on Tubi. So
Yeah.
Tubi has ramped up their commercials. Um,
Yeah.
and it's driving me crazy because I don't even think they have a thing where you can buy, like, you can subscribe to
Commercial
it.
free or something.
Yeah, so you could get commercial free.
Mm.
Um, but I think that they're not going to ever do that. They're just going to keep giving you more and more commercials. And that might be the worst problem because people are going to eventually be like, I don't really want to watch TV. There's just too many commercials, you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah.
I mean, I counted five or six. Like there may have
That's,
been six at
yeah.
one point. So I'm like, if it
Wow.
gets up to like 10, you
It's
can't
like a half
watch.
an hour of my life when
Yeah,
it gets.
it's more than that. Uh, and they show them like every uh like 15 minutes or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh my God, it's a commercial time now?
Here we
Like,
go again.
yeah. And it's always the same, like pretty much the same ones too. I don't know if you get the T-Mobile one where the two guys are singing the whole time from Psych. And I love those guys to death, but I'm like, I don't want to hear the song again.
Hear
You
this one
can
more time.
I
Snap.
I was grateful I had something else to do while the commercials were on, so I just went back to doing those stuff while the
Yeah.
commercials were on, but and just kind of muted it, because it
Yeah.
just drove me crazy. Um, but yeah, it was that annoyed me. It had nothing to do with this movie except for the fact that they were on there, but you know, that's not the movie's fault. I think this movie, if I think it's gotta be on. Let me see. Is it on DVD? Let's see. I keep wanting to call it Highway to Hell because
I
that's like
know. I was singing that in my head.
right. You're singing that song? Were
But the
you
whole
doing
time it was,
Hayride to
hey,
Hell?
ride.
They should have done that somehow. I don't know
Horrible
if that
singing
could be
voice.
considered parody, so they could have made a
Yeah.
Hayride to Hell soundtrack and have that song be like the lead, at least even at the end. No, there's no DVD of it on. I can't find it on there. Wow, that sucks. If it doesn't have a DVD
Mm,
release, it has to have one. They shot a
yeah.
um behind the scenes, so maybe
I'm
maybe it's
positive.
on Amazon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I bet.
no, I'm just saying that you can buy it or for like a digital copy, but it does not look like you can get a DVD copy of it. Dang, that
Hmm.
sucks, man. That's one part I don't like about stuff now is that everything's digital and nothing is they're trying to just keep everything digital and not do as many uh what is it? Physical media stuff, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know I guess it was Breaking Glass that put it out and they are pretty good at putting out DVDs, so I'm surprised they don't have a DVD of this. Um Hopefully they'll put it out at some point because I'd want one. Um
Yeah, dude. You got to get a copy of
yeah, what?
my latest.
Ah, I gotta get that. Yes. Blood and Breakfast, right? Or something.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Everybody should go buy one of those. But yeah, it is see, that's the thing. You have a you have a physical copy of your movie. Why isn't
Mm.
there one for this movie? I don't know. And
I always try to get one. I mean, I got like a dozen of these, but and pretty much anything that I'm in that comes on, DVD, I make sure I get a handful of them at least.
to sell at like conventions or if anyone wants one,
Hmm. Yeah,
period, they can get it from you and you'll sign it.
that's right.
Really, so why not? So I'm just so very, I don't know, so very torn on that. Like, why is there a DVD? But I guess
We're gonna find you one,
it
okay?
really bothers
You're gonna
me.
be so excited when you
I
check your mail and I've mailed you a copy of Hayride to Hell.
Yeah, when one day it comes, I'll be so happy. I'll be like, oh my God, I got a
Yeah,
copy of it. I mean, would I necessarily watch this? Like, I might watch this every Halloween time, you
might
know?
be like what might be our new little tradition now. We're gonna watch this.
That'd be
We'll probably
cute.
catch something new in it next time.
Yeah, I like that.
Because I
Yeah,
felt like we were watching it because, well, it was good. And then I felt like I was watching it. I was almost kind of rush watching it because I was just trying to like just absorb as much as I could because I knew we were going to come on and talk about it. And I want it to be fresh in my mind. But I know if I watched it again, I'll be like, oh, I didn't catch that the first time or whatever. Did you catch when he was going through the corn and like the lady's finger was in there at the
yeah,
ring?
yeah. And he was so happy about that. Yeah,
Yeah, it was like 3 carat. diamond ring. And
Hmm.
then the whole time I could think about was like, ooh, severed fingers. I know how to make those
Yeah. Nice.
now.
You could have worked on Hayride to Hell.
I'm definitely going to work on something doing
This was
that.
actually shot in Pennsylvania. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah. I looked that up at the end because they had like the special thanks for everything. And let me see where in Pennsylvania, 'cause I think it says it here on the, usually it says it on the IMDb. Malvern, Pennsylvania.
Melbourne.
Malvern, like Malvrn. I don't know. That's the main, I guess that's where the hayride and the farm is. But I think there's been other things like they were using other places around that area to do either to do shots or to.
Maybe it's where they shoot that they do the Field of Scream or whatever it's called. You ever
Hmm.
heard of that Field of Screams? They have that.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like a whole, it's like a sort of like this. It's like a field and they
maybe.
look, yeah.
Maybe that's where they, I mean, maybe that's where they rent it out or whatever, and stuff.
Mm.
I mean, it looked like I mean, they did a really good job having like a haunted hayride, kind of
Yeah,
thing. And I
yeah,
liked that the deputy had done it like the last year or whatever. And he's like, "Oh man, they're doing last year's. I'm really
yeah.
hoping that they change
Because
it
it was
up."
like a town thing. They loved it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the only people who didn't do it were like the people who wanted to shut it down.
yeah, the
You know,
Karens.
yeah, the Karens of the group did not, they had not gone, so they didn't know anything. Also, I didn't do this. I have my soda, and I'm kind of bummed. I've been drinking a lot of hot apple cider,
Oh,
and I have like Food Lion brand, which is I don't think you guys have Food Lion up there.
yeah.
Uh,
We I know about Food Lion.
okay, well,
Yeah,
Food Lion for people who don't is a grocery store.
yeah.
And so I would just buy these you know,
Gala.
$5 Keurig hot apple cider stuff, and I like to do them every year.
Oh,
It's kind of a tradition of like buying them during the fall season and
mm-hmm.
everything, and then during the winter I go to cocoa.
Okay.
Yeah. But during the fall I like to have a hot apple cider. Did not make it tonight. I forgot. Like I've been because I
Oh,
wasn't just doing your show. I also did another uh video, and I had to do that before this and stuff. It only took about 10 15 minutes. So it didn't take much of my time, but I had to do that before I did this. And so I was like trying to like cram everything together because both videos got to go out tomorrow,
yeah, yeah.
so I got work cut out for me tonight.
I'm gonna
But
send you some hot cocoa bombs.
oh, oh yes,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah,
That's what you
yeah. I
do.
make those. Mhm.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So
I'd
now
love
I
some.
know. You have to give me your address. Send me your address.
All right. I'm
Okay.
getting more than just a Hayride DVD in the mail
You get
now.
a hair right DVD
I would hope so. I hope so one
and
day.
some hot cocoa bombs.
Like seriously, these directors should go out and the director should go out and tell the company or Breaking Glass if you're watching, which you probably aren't. But if you are, you know, um, please, for the love of God, put this out on DVD. I would love to see this on there. Um, Now I want to watch all the movies that this director's done because this one was so funny and smart. And so I sort of mentioned it earlier that the thing that I loved is the ending of the movie because I didn't get it. I did not get it before why the paramedics were like really around and doing
Uh-huh.
stuff,
Yeah.
and they were taking out all the hearts and organs
All the
of all
organs.
the
Yeah.
people that they killed,
Yeah.
and that they were basically harvesting them
Yes.
to other people who are in need of organs,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
stuff in the town, I guess. So they were not just taking lives, but they were saving lives.
That's right.
So you know
Yeah.
what? So is that, is that better? I mean, like in this world, in this universe here, is that better that they at least they were there doing that? I don't know.
Organ donation.
Organ donation. Yeah, they're donating. I love the line where he said, uh God, it was like one of the last lines that he said because they're talking about the heart. This is the best harvest ever.
Yes.
And then he said, organic farming.
Yes.
I laughed so hard. I was like, that's good. I mean, that was a
Yeah,
better joke than the jokes in the beginning where I did laugh at the father-in-law joke. The
yeah,
you know the
yeah,
priest in the was it the priest in the uh, becomes a lawyer or whatever joke. I like that.
yes.
I thought that was funny. It's a dad joke, but like, and those are the perfect thing you would hear at like a
Those
uh
kind of functions. Yeah,
at those kind of
yeah,
functions. They can't do a real, thing. They can't do like crude jokes or anything. They have to do like dad jokes,
yeah. Kind of
family friendly.
clean, but adult
Yeah,
humor. But yeah, because there's kids
kind of.
there.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think kids really might
Understand?
get that. And I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't even know if there really were that many kids there. The youngest were the teens that hung out at the cemetery, apparently.
There were some young ones because they were getting like the little pumpkins and gourds from pumpkin claws.
That's right. That's at the beginning of the movie, I
Yeah.
think, right? Yeah. Hmm. So why do kids hang out at a cemetery like that? Like, uh, I feel like there was a joke on Return of the Living Dead
Mm,
because there was a bit where the girl is or the guy is talking about pissing on the grave or whatever
mm.
and stuff, and then I think he said stuff. It sounded like trash from Return of the Living Dead. I could be wrong, could be completely off, but that's what I got from it. And trash from Return of the Living Dead hung out in the cemetery, but she was like topless at the cemetery and stuff. It was Linnea Quigley. So I don't know if that's where they were going with some stuff. It would have been
Mm.
cooler if there were more girls hanging out there. Seemed like it was just nothing but dudes. It was a sausage
Yeah.
fest there,
Yeah. Couldn't
It's
find
kind
any
of weird.
chicks.
But
Yeah, they couldn't find any chicks
I
there.
know, I guess
Yeah.
not. But
All
I
they had
guess
was
it's
Hazel or whatever her name
yeah.
was. She kept stealing.
Hazel was played by Marion Mosley. Um, no, yeah, Marion Mosley, which was Bill Mosley's daughter. So it's
Okay.
really funny
Interesting.
because they did not play father and daughter in this
Yeah.
movie, and she was the one stealing
Yes.
all the money, so she kept putting it um in her
Cleavage.
cleavage, yeah, and stealing all the money and or taking money, and apparently she took a lot,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
stuff.
It took like
So
$40 for those apple pies.
I know, and then and then what is it? Then later when she gets set on fire, she's a witch, you know.
Hmm.
She gets set on fire. Um, she kept telling him, "No, no, no, I'll do anything, please, right, whatever."
Yeah.
And I think his line was something about uh she something about stealing from them, but I don't know, whatever. They said something that I was just like, "Oh my God, that was great." And it kind of moved on from that, like like she'll never steal from them again kind of thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatnot. And I loved everything. Like I was so enthralled by this like movie because like everything they did, they were able to get away with, up
Yeah.
until the end where they showed who they were, and
Hmm.
what they were doing with Santa Claus, which was weird. I don't know
Yeah.
why Santa Claus was there, like a guy playing Santa
Pumpkin
Claus.
claws.
Pumpkin Claus, that's
Yeah.
right. And
He was
then
an orange.
yeah,
Hand
well,
out the cords.
and Sam was called Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
So when I think of Uncle Sam, I think of Fourth of July. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
holiday stuff going on in this movie,
Yeah. It's like
you know.
a Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah. Kind of. Oh, and the best part about the movie was, in a lot of these horror films, they want to have like somebody get murdered in the first 10 minutes all the time. I mean, somebody has to die like every 10 minutes or whatever, for a horror film. This movie had a lot more comedy. You got to know all the characters, before they got killed, except for the kids, but you got to know them enough. I didn't like them
They
anyway.
deserve
You
what
know,
they got.
yeah. Especially after killing the dog,
Ah,
I was not happy with that. But um it's funny. Paul, myself, and my buddy Joe Turek did a review of Zombievers, and we there was a scene where they threw the dog in the water and to like distract the beavers so that they could get to shore, and the dog got ripped apart. And we were like, that was our least favorite part of the movie because we don't like to see the dogs, and everything. And then the actress who was one of the main actresses saw my review and said, uh, said we sound like a bunch of vegans because she's a vegan. So she was happy hearing us say stuff like save the animals and don't harm them. And I am not a vegan. I'm sorry. I just haven't gone into that lifestyle. Maybe I should be healthy.
I'm
Maybe.
lazy. Couldn't do it. You saw me
Well,
eat that big old hamburger the other day.
I couldn't do it. I don't know. I just ate a bunch of chicken, like I just don't think I could. I don't you know, I don't think I could do it. But I do love animals, and I don't like animal cruelty, like in films and stuff. Um, but for some reason, like this movie, I think it's because you don't see the dog when he gets, you just hear it. I think that made it a little easier because generally I don't like, like if they had shown the dog get hit, even though if it didn't actually get hit, but it
Yeah.
looked like it got hit or whatever, like close enough, and you saw the dog's reaction to getting hit. Because I've talked about this on multiple podcasts, but there's a movie, I forget, Walkabout, and it has a scene where a kangaroo gets killed, and it was
Oh.
it was real. They killed the
Oh.
kangaroo and then
Wow.
ate his meat and everything and stuff,
Yeah.
and that was part of the movie, but it was also real, and you can tell. When the kangaroo makes the noise of getting killed, you can tell that wasn't fake. That wasn't like they didn't teach that kangaroo how to yelp like that or whatever. And it was
Oh,
rough, you
yeah.
know? And I don't like that. Like, I don't like I stopped watching it after that, and I have not gone back to finishing it up because I just, even though knowing that the kangaroo was used for meat and stuff, still to me, I couldn't imagine doing that. I don't hunt, um, especially not for sport. I think that's it's a pretty terrible thing to be happy about going around killing deer and other animals.
Mm.
I understand they are, you know,
Food
they
source or whatever. Yeah.
they overpopulate,
Yeah.
so
Sure.
it yeah, I get that. I understand, but like then round them up and put them somewhere or something, like keep them at somewhere, but like don't, don't, I mean, killing them is just terrible. Um, but killing them and using them as food, like if you were out in the middle of the woods and you didn't have your own home and that was the only thing you could do, I get that. Like I'm okay with that. Like if that's, I mean, I bet I would go vegetarian after that. You know? I mean, like
Berries.
give me some berries or some whatever. I don't care. Apples if I can find them, I'd be okay with that. But not. I don't even think I could kill any animal unless it were like accidental. Like I've run over squirrels before because they were dumb enough to.
Don't you feel bad?
I always feel bad.
It's great for squirrels, man.
I do,
Run
but
around.
my one of my friends uh it sees that commercial. I think it's Geico or somebody
Yeah.
that
A
has
little.
that one with the two giving them high fives after somebody
Oh,
crashing. Do you
yeah.
remember that commercial? He's now like since then after watching that, he's always said like he doesn't care now. And I'm like, they don't really high five each other. They're not like when they go out in the middle of the road, they're just dumb. They don't, you know. They don't know that there's this big thing that could just run them over, you know? So I do break for squirrels,
Cute.
you know. I should have that as my like as my what
Bumper sticker.
bumper sticker on my car. I break for squirrels. This is true. I do. I sorry. I if a squirrel runs out, um my favorite thing ever. was we live in an area where there's what is it? Um geese, Canadian geese,
Oh,
and they'll just walk around
yeah, yeah,
like, and you have to stop for them
yeah.
and wait for all the whole
All of them.
family to go across the road. And I'm okay with that, you know. I'm not okay with people get mad and like beep at them. I'm like, don't be a dick.
Yeah,
You know,
like
let them go at their own pace, you know, and stuff. So
it's always sad when you see them like people hit them,
I
but
don't
they're
think I've
warned them on the side of the road. They're a little fallen goose.
uh
Fucker.
there yeah. But yeah, anyway, to go back to this movie, it's just yeah. So we really went on a tangent there.
On these
Um,
tangents.
was that
We always get on these tangents and we start talking
well? And you know, and this was because of the death of the
about
dog,
fine.
but you know, which the other dog was around, and I love that part where they had like there was a part of the person, I forgot what part or whatever, but it like fell on the ground, and she tried to go grab it, and the dog ate it.
Oh yeah, it was like a piece of liver or something.
Yeah, it was a liver or something, which would have been, you know,
Hey,
and then she kind of looked at the guy, and was like, I'm sorry, you know, but oh
yeah, really.
well, but you gotta feed the dog. I mean, you know, he didn't get, thank God she didn't get killed, but um, yeah. So anyway, what was your favorite part of this movie?
Ugh. Um, well, I kind of touched on it. I thought it was kind of cool that I think it was, yeah, it was Hazel, I think it was. She was admiring the mayor's ring and she was like, yeah, it's 3 carats and this and that or whatever, making a big deal about it. She's like, I got to get me one of those.
Hmm.
And then, and then the mayor, she gets ran over by the corn husker thing. And then all the fresh corns coming out the back. And you can kind of see some of the corns like little tinged red or whatever. And then that I don't know who that other farmer was, but he gets out and he kind of like reaches in and pulls out the severed finger and it has a big old rock on it. He just starts laughing and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, there's enough money there to save the farm, just with the diamond ring on its
Well,
own.
that guy's not gonna help save the farm because
Oh, he didn't like them.
he didn't like it either. Which was weird because so that scene was great because the I think the mayor lady runs up and she stops the guy and she's like,
Yeah.
stop, stop. And he's like, what are you doing in my corn? And
Yeah. So I
and he
wasn't sure if he was involved, if he was,
I thought so too. And then but then he starts saying that he hates that they're doing that stupid hayride and they're ruining my corn and blah 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 blah. And then she's like, okay, well, will you help me? And then he runs her over.
yeah.
And I was like, is everybody in this town just are okay with murder? Like, like
Hey,
it's
man.
something that you do every day. Like that's the only thing like that drove me crazy is how much people were just like the one guy that was like the assistant, that was like in the water at one point and
Yeah.
he looked like he was doing some kind of like voodoo kind of thing or something,
Yeah.
and then he ended up he started murdering people and people just thought it was just all part of a
The,
haunted hayride.
yeah. I thought it was all an act. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all an act.
And he
Uh,
and he played dumb too, but I mean he came across actually kind of smart and he started talking. You're like, oh, this guy's kind of intelligent. He was from I think Belize or something. So Belize
yeah. And he, but
somewhere
yeah,
else.
but like he was all, like, cause you never get a scene where the, Bill Moseley's character gets everybody together
Hmm.
and then like explains, which, I mean, I don't think we need, but like, there's no scene where they're like explaining this stuff. So, and then everybody's like, yeah, let's go murder these people. So like, when they start murdering everybody, you're just like, whoa. Like, I thought they would be like trying to teach them a lesson or something, but like, scare them, or something, but not actually kill them.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, like, I was wondering by the end of it, like, how can you can't kill that many people and then like not other people noticing, like the state police or whatever, some other police, like I think the way that they kind of have it almost feels very like what's that movie? The Stephen King one that just came out that was a remake or what a new adaptation. Oh my God, my brain is going like Salem's Lot.
Mm,
Where it's like at the end they're just getting rid of all the evidence and everything. They're getting rid of all the cars.
hmm
They're, all the bodies are being, whatever. All
hmm
this stuff is happening, even though one of the cars stayed, you
Yeah,
know,
you keep that one.
he kept one of
Good.
them because he
Yeah.
liked it.
Oh, okay.
I think it's because he liked it, right?
Yes, I don't know what the connection was with that.
I know he said, I think Sam said, oh, let's keep this one, or whatever. So he kept one, but all the rest, they all just did, they took them away through like, um, you know, whatever. Like they just
Yeah,
took them all away.
they crushed them and then I guess they what did bury him, I guess, and
I don't know. I don't know. All I know is they're all gone, and now all of a sudden there's this town that doesn't basically have half the population.
yeah,
So all in all, I definitely recommend this movie. Would you definitely recommend it?
I would. Yes,
Yeah. And
good.
you said it sounded like you watch it every year.
I might-
So that's a damn good recommendation. So I say to the director, just keep making movies like this,
Yeah,
where it's just fun. You don't and I'm glad because it was more like a horror comedy, I guess, that you don't it kind of reminded me like Shaun of the Dead, where in the beginning you get a lot of the comedy, you get to meet a lot of the characters, but then like 20 minutes, 30 minutes in is when the actual like murders start,
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff. And I like that. I feel like more horror movies are gonna head toward that way because I think people are tired of seeing like a movie where a person in a mask is just around killing everybody all the time, and
yeah,
everything. It gets kind of boring.
yeah,
You gotta change things up and
yeah,
make something different. Um, and I think this movie is different enough. I mean, especially like the twist with them selling the organs, because then I was like, oh, they're
yeah,
doing a good deed after doing terrible deeds to all these people, who I don't know if they necessarily deserved it. Like, I know the mayor was like, I don't deserve this. And
yeah,
I'm like, I don't know if you do or not, because I don't think you do. I don't think anyone deserves to be just murdered like that. But um, I think that I think there are really terrible people in the world. And uh, like I said, if it's a self-defense thing, like somebody's trying to kill you and then you kill them, that's definitely justified. If you kill them before they even try to kill you or try to attack you, then that's murder,
yeah.
and like these people. So, but I really enjoyed it. I would definitely watch it again and again. So. Well, thank you, Brandy. I had a blast.
That
This
was
was
fun.
a lot of fun, and this is a movie I want. Like once again, I want it on DVD. I want it out there more. I want people to know about this movie. It's probably one of my favorites of this year. I mean, there's been some really good ones, then
Yeah.
there's been some really bad ones. Like Alice in Terrorland is probably one of my least favorite. Uh, but that's the great thing about Tubi is you never know. And
So
if you go in blind, what?
yeah, are you going to go through all your movies now that you've watched for the entire month and then just rate them like on your
I won't rate them necessarily, but I will let's do that. I'll tell you which ones I liked, which
okay.
ones I was not a fan of. Um, that's the that's the beautiful thing about this is I got a whole playlist. So
Yeah.
people, if you're checking this out, I'm sure you saw it, but I've got a playlist of all the movies. So
Yeah.
and so this is the
Re
2024. So the
recap.
first recap, yep.
Yeah.
First one up was a movie called Cult. It was okay. It had some
Mhm.
moments. It wasn't. I mean, it wasn't the greatest to start on. I thought it was going to be a lot better than it was. I love Rachel Miner who was in it. I thought she did a great job. Um, then there was Dawn of the Scarecrow. And okay, so I'll tell it who I did everything with too. So
Yeah.
Liz Fletcher was the first guest. And by the way, most of them are girl, guy, girl, guy, girl, guy, girl, guy, up
Mm.
until the end when I had like people canceling on me and I just had to get who I could get.
Just
So,
landed on the devil.
but yeah, you'll hear this right now. So Donna Scarecrow was Marcus Cook, who also did a movie that we reviewed in this that I reviewed in this 31 Days of Indie Horror, and we'll get to that later.
Mm.
And so Donna Scarecrow was you know, once again, it didn't blow me away, but it wasn't terrible. Like we've seen worse, kind of thing.
Mm.
Uh Werewolf Island was number four, ooh, season oh, number three. Um yeah, so number three was Werewolf Island. Eh, it was originally not called Werewolf Island. It was called like Dog something Island or whatever, Dog Lady Island. And that's what the island is based on an urban legend of a dog lady.
Oh, okay.
So they changed it to Werewolf Island, and
Yeah.
there is no actual werewolf in the movie. Made
Oh.
no sense whatsoever. It was that was terrible. It was not that great. Then and so that was who did that? Was that Anna? I think that was Anna Zayden. Yeah, that was Anna. So Anna Zayden did that one, and that
Oh.
was kind of fun to have her. And then number four, I think was Dale Nyhouse and I did uh Curse of the 49er, which was directed by the guy who directed Kane Hodder in Friday the 13th Part 7, the one that he set Kane Hodder on fires. John Carl Beekler did that, and it was interesting. It was fun. I'd probably watch it again. So that was good. Curse of the 49er. Um, I was like, wait, a football team? What? But
Yeah.
apparently that's a mining thing.
Oh.
I
Oh,
never,
yeah.
I don't mine. So,
Yeah.
um, and then I wanted to do a comedy, so I asked my friend Sarah Atkins, who's big on horror comedies, and I gave her a list of horror comedies on Tubi, and the one she picked was Hansel and Gretel Get Baked,
Oh.
which which I feel like should have been called Hansel and Gretel Get Half Baked because it was not the story was half baked.
Oh.
It was not that good. It had moments, and I have it on Blu-ray, and I'm gonna keep it. Like I keep all my movies, even if I don't like them, I keep them because A, I might change my mind someday.
Yeah.
And B, I want to have every movie in the world if I ever can. If I ever get that rich, I get Elon Musk rich. He wants to go save the world. I want to just have as many movies as
Oh,
possible,
so
in
many.
my collection.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Then number six, I can't read that. Oh, Bad Channels, which was my buddy Dustin and I did it. It's a full moon movie. That was actually pretty good. I liked it. I had a fun time with it. It was cute. It was about like aliens taking over a radio station. Actually, from the 80s or early 90s, I think it was. Then number seven was how the curse is it the curse of Halloween Jack? The Legend of Halloween Jack. So it was the
Mm.
first one. And I did who did I do that with? Who I did that with Stephanie. So Stephanie Cahill and I did that, and that was okay. It wasn't good. Unfortunately the director has passed on. And he did some fun movies. He did like there's a group of movies called Robert the Doll. Have you ever heard of those?
Oh. Mm-mm.
So if you look up on Tubi, I think Tubi has all of them. There's like Curse of Robert the Doll, The Legend of Robert the Doll, and then he did Curse of Halloween Jack, The Legend of Halloween Jack, all that stuff. Legend of Halloween Jack was the first one, and yeah, who so Stephanie and I did that, and it wasn't that good. Next one was Headless Horseman, which was an asylum movie that my buddy David Lane and I did reviewed, and I thought that was going to be so cool because it was like The Crow meets Ghost Rider and all these things because there's a guy in a headless, motorcyclist, which is what they should have called it, not Headless Horseman, but Headless headless motorcyclist or something, or whatever.
Hmm.
That's what he was.
Yeah.
Uh, there was no horse. I guess they called the motorcycle horse or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Ridiculous. It was not that good. Um, then the Asylum did a really good movie that I had done earlier before I did that one, and that was what was it called? Um, Blood Lake. Um, what was the full title of it? Something of the Lampreys, Attack of the Killer Lampreys. That had like Christopher Lloyd in it. Pretty good cast. I think Zach Ward was in it. A bunch of people that were really good, and it was fun. It was fun. James Cullen Brussock is a director I really, really like. He's an independent filmmaker, and he's really good. So, after that, I picked a movie called The Mill for my buddy Joe Turk and I, and Madeline Deering did The Blood Lake with me. Um, and then Joe Turk and I did yeah, The Mill. Mill was not that great.
It was
It I thought it was gonna be a lot better than it was. Oh, and then Amanda Megan and I, which you know who you know,
hmm
we did Killer Mermaid, and she told me she fell asleep to the movie.
Oh,
So that shows you how, I
sometimes they put you to sleep.
I know if a movie puts you to sleep because it's boring, that's the sin of filmmaking. Um, Honestly, I didn't fall asleep through it, so I can't say that it's that bad. I thought it was okay. There was not enough mermaid action, and the mermaid was like in one area, it would have been
Mhm.
cooler had they done like a Jaws thing or something where it was out in the ocean and would just take on people that were like swimming or whatever. But it seemed like they had all these other ideas and other things that were going on, and
Yeah.
it was too much.
It
So
was it wasn't no splash from like the 1980s.
it was definitely not a splash at all. No splash. It was kind of eh. Next is Michael McLean, who I think you also know.
Ooh.
Um, he and I did Vampire Time Travelers. That title is great, but
Mhm.
there was like barely any time traveling, and I don't think there was any time traveling really. Oh, there's like one little bit of time traveling. It just wasn't it. I just thought it was gonna be cool. Like if you get a movie like that you're gonna have vampires like time traveling to different times, periods,
Yeah, that sounds good, doesn't it?
right? But
That-
no, they didn't really go that route. It was ridiculous, and it was not fun. It was just not it was not as fun as I was expecting it to be.
that's
Then
lame.
my friend Skylar Young and I did Donner Pass, which she had remembered watching back in the day
Mhm.
on Redbox.
Oh,
When
okay.
Redbox started,
Yeah.
and everything, Donner Pass was one of the first ones there,
Okay.
that she remembers. Probably wasn't one of the first, but it was like one of the old ones. Then there was a movie called was it Curse of Wolf Mountain that my buddy John Ward and I did. That one was horrible too. It had Danny Trejo in it though, so
Oh, okay.
he
He
was
was like,
good in it. Like he did a good job. It just was not a very good movie, and you would think like a movie called Curse of Wolf Mountain that there would be a wolf, and
yeah,
there was just
the wolf.
it was just a killer. So it kind of more reminded me of Wolf Lake,
Uh,
or Wolf Creek, which
yeah.
was about like people at a place called Wolf Creek and there's a killer there, you
Mm.
know. But
Oh,
when you hear that title, you think
oh,
werewolf or something.
yeah, but no.
No. Um, then a very good surprise. This might also be up as like my top of it is Bury the Bride. I did this with my friend Haley Hansen. We reviewed that and we were both very pleasantly surprised about that. We hadn't seen it, we hadn't heard of it. And a it was directed by a guy who Spider One. He's a rock star, you know.
Mm.
And I forgot what band he did, like Powerhouse 5000 or whatever, Power Man 5000, I think is what he did. And he and his I'm guessing future wife because I think they're either engaged or dating. But Chrissy Fox, him and her, and she was in the new Terrifier movie. She, I don't know if you saw that yet, the new Terrifier movie.
Third one, no. The
Yeah,
third, oh, I haven't seen that one. I've seen the first and second.
I see the third one. It is fantastic, and
Mm,
it's made $50 million. It's almost gonna make
really?
it sound worse. $50 million or above. Like, and I think it's still making money, and so it's crossed that mark, and it was only cost $2 million. So it's made, I think, more than $50 million
That's
over its budget. You know? So
crazy.
that's awesome. But Bury the Bride is really good. Basically, uh, about a new like fiance, like who's basically getting with her friends. They're kind of having a bachelor
Oh,
party out in
Brett.
the middle of nowhere, and all hell breaks loose when her new fiance comes in, and he's not what you expect, kind of thing. I'll leave it at that. But we really had a good time watching it, and the twists and turns of that movie just were like amazing, and
Mhm.
especially on a low budget, kind of you can tell they used whatever they could, and they didn't seem to have a lot of time to make it too, and they made it as quickly as they could and as well as they could.
Uh-huh.
So good movie. Then a movie that I know the filmmaker, so I kind of feel bad for saying it, but it wasn't the greatest movie of all time. It's a movie called Dismal. It has some problems in it that low budget filmmaking problems. But my
Uh-huh.
buddy Steve Shackelford, who has a YouTube channel called Excelsior Movie Reviews, he reviewed it with me.
Mm,
And he didn't have a lot of time. He had to jump on a live video like after my thing. So we only did about 35 minutes of it, but
mm.
we both kind of agreed on things that we were like, this got problems, but it
Yeah,
wasn't the worst movie that we've had on here
yeah.
or whatever. So trust me, not by a long shot. So let's see. Then we've got Six Wheels from Hell, which Shannon Atkins and I did. It was fun. But it had problems. There was a lot of problems, especially
Uh-huh.
like with police.
Yeah.
Like there were things where we were both shaking our head going, why did they do that? And stuff. And when you
Mm,
have movies like that, you know,
yeah. Yeah.
like it just doesn't work out. Um, you haven't seen any of these movies, right? I'm listing all these movies off. You've never
I
seen
have not.
any of them. I'm trying not to spoil any of them, you know, but if
People,
you watch the reviews,
yeah. People need to know. Don't waste your time.
yeah. Uh, Final Summer, was the next one I did with James L. Edwards. It's funny because the last time I had him on the show, I let him sort of he asked me like because he didn't want to do. 'Cause I've showed him some really bad movies, and each time he's just like, "Oh my God," right? And so he uh he was sort of he asked me in the last one that the last 31 days if I could pick one of the movies that he already had like picked out,
Yeah.
that were also available on Tubi and stuff. And so he gave me a list and I picked one out because it sounded interesting. And we still didn't like it necessarily, but it still was probably better than a lot of the other ones that we unfortunately reviewed. And
Yeah.
Final Summer wasn't bad. Um, it's just Friday the 13th,
Uh,
except
Summertime.
uh, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's summer. I don't know. It's just bad. Like, it wasn't as good as I expected it to be. Oh, speaking of not as good as I expected it to be, next was Alice in Terrorland with you. And well, how since I got you on here, what would you say?
About that one.
Yeah.
I didn't there were some good parts in it, but it was very slow moving and I was just waiting for like the wow factor. And I never got it. I never got the wow factor. And it was confusing in the beginning. I didn't know what was going on until 25, 30 minutes into the film. And then I'm like, oh, okay. Oh,
Now we're getting it. Now we're getting who the
yeah,
queen is or whatever, all this stuff.
characters
Uh,
are a little weak for me, but
yeah,
you know, it had some good point. It has some good points in it. Like, you know, I loved the where it was filmed and the costumes and you know, the acting was pretty decent, you know.
should have been a lot better than it was.
Hmm.
And the story should have been better, but I kind of agree. It's kind of a dud. Um, so then after that, I did Feast of the Flesh with my buddy Don and Nellie.
Hmm.
I'm actually also friends with the director and writer and all. Well, writer I don't think I am, but director I know I am, and the cast of that movie I'm friends with a few of them. I liked it. It has moments where I was like, why do they do that?
Hmm.
But that was a creative thing, and stuff choice. I uh I liked it. I thought it's definitely a movie I would own, you know, and stuff. I don't think I bought it, but I did buy Amy Lynn Best. Okay, so I don't think Amy Lynn Best directed that one, no, but she starred in it. But her husband directed it. So I don't, yeah, and I'm not friends with them on Facebook for some
Hmm.
odd reason. But I am still friends with her. So I don't think there was any problem. Maybe something happened. I don't know. You never
Happened.
know with Facebook. People just sometimes people's stuff just get deleted, and we're like, where the fuck? It happens on Instagram too.
Yeah.
Um, but well, I also bought their movie Severe Injuries,
Oh,
which I do plan to review for Indie Film Cafe at some point.
yeah.
I liked it. I like that movie a lot too. I like that one better. But Feast of Flesh is pretty good. It's got like Deborah Shawn and bunch of good actors in it, and so it was fun. I enjoyed it. I think Don didn't like it as much, but it's okay. Um, not every like maybe he did. I'm not gonna put words in his mouth because it's been a little bit since I watched that with him.
Hmm.
And then I did a movie called Demon Legacy with Misty Wagner,
Hmm.
and that's another movie that has a great idea but poor execution.
Oh.
There was the girl from Zombievers, Courtney Palm, is also in it, but like she replaces somebody as one of the demons,
Oh.
so it was weird. There's a lot of problems. I think there's a story behind how it became out like the way it has, because there seems to be stuff, cuts and different things that just seem
Then-
off.
Yeah.
Mhm. Um, so I'd love to like interview the director and find out like exactly if this was his viewing, like if this was the choice that he made, or if like it, editing and all this other stuff like
The editing will,
ruined everything.
yeah,
Mm.
when you get to the end and you're watching the movie, you're like, oh, they didn't
That's
use that or whatever. Yeah.
Well, it's that, and also I think also the characters. I think there was a problem with a couple of the actors, and they
Mm.
fired them.
Mm.
So or something like that. I don't want to once
Happens.
again I
Mhm.
don't want to say whatever, but things like that. And so I think it was something like that happened, and
Mm.
so I think there was some
Show
issue.
must go on.
I They try to, and then it just like confuses everybody unless you put some kind of like kind of thing in there. But yeah. Um, Rebecca Reinhart was talking about, I think it was Velociraptor, had a scene where they're like, missing scene here, you know, and they put it in the movie like that.
Yeah.
And the movie's a comedy already, right? And it's a B movie comedy, but there probably was a missing scene or something. And then they put that as a joke, but it was real, you
I,
know, you know. So she said that, and I was like, I think that's true. Um, I like when people kind of do that. Then we did a pirate movie with your buddy Jesse. I got to do a pirate movie called Ship of the Damned with him,
oh,
with Captain Mango, and
yeah.
so that was fun. Actually, he dressed up as Captain Mango and did Ship of the Damned with me, so that was fun. I like that. The movie wasn't the movie. So this seems to be the theme of this year, is that the movies that I picked a lot of times they have great concepts, they have great like it starts great whatever, and then it's just poor execution throughout it, you know.
Yeah. Hmm.
And we saw that with Alice in Terrorland, like a
Hmm.
great concept, like somebody came up with a great title, but weren't able to like execute a great movie from it, in my opinion. This is
Hmm.
all my opinion. So, take it for what it is. If you love Alice in Terrorland,
Good.
please love Alice in Terrorland. I mean, that's up to you. Um, but I Ship of the Damned was okay. It wasn't it I will say that I enjoyed it because a lot of it was on the ship, and I am a big fan of movies where you're out on sea.
Yeah, that's pretty
Um,
cool.
yeah, I don't know why. Uh,
Different.
my yeah, my buddy John Ward always laughs at me because I hate everything a lot of times. Like, and he's like, "What do you like?"
Yeah.
And then one day I told him, "Oh, I like movies where people are out on sea." He goes, "Oh my God, there's something you like." And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, there you go. I
Yep.
mean, because I don't like found footage. I barely like zombies. They have to be comedy zombies for me to like it. Um, if they're serious, like Night of the Living Dead, I rewatched and I love that movie for its own reasons and stuff.
Hmm. Hmm.
But like, and I like Dawn of the Dead. I like those stuff, but those aren't movies like that I just die for. Um, so I love slashers, but I don't love found footage. I don't love movies, a lot of movies set in one area, one place,
Yeah.
you know, because I feel claustrophobic when I watch them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a lot of things like that. But next movie is That's a Wrap. I believe Marcel Waltz directed it. Joe Netter wrote it. Sarah French stars in it. It is really good.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, I had a fun time with that one. And I did that with Danielle Harper. So we had a fun time chatting about that.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah. And then let's see. Ghoul Scout Zombie Massacre. That's a great title.
Yeah.
We did that with with my buddy Shane Michaels. He's another filmmaker. And okay, so I always ask filmmakers to come on my show and do reviews. A lot of them turn me down. Matt Burns, I think, turns me down all the time because a lot of filmmakers are afraid to judge other filmmakers,
Sure.
and stuff. And I get it, like, because we're all in the same business, and
Yeah.
it's not judging, it's critiquing, and it's fair critiquing. We don't say this is terrible and then move
Sure.
on to the next thing.
Hmm.
We give our points as to why we think it doesn't work. That doesn't necessarily mean the director. I've had one David and I, David Lane and I, did one, and I won't say which one, but you can find it somewhere if you find David's one, and it's in one of the 31 Days of Indie Horror. We reviewed a movie, and the director was not happy with our review of it. Usually, what David would say, and I get
Yeah.
this a lot, where I kind of defend a lot of things, and I
Yeah.
say, especially coming from the filmmaking side of stuff, like I see things as like, okay, that was shot, independently. So, I'm going to give it a little bit of a break, and everything like that. Or
Mm.
maybe I just enjoy things, differently than people do. Um, but David went on about the certain things, and the guy was, I think he commented on our video, just commenting things like that was wrong, and like it feels like it was real time commenting or whatever, just commenting all these things, and he
Yeah.
really just went off on us about it.
Some
I'm
people just,
surprised he didn't delete me or block me because I kind of explained to him that, like, I'm sorry, I mean that's just kind of what we viewed. You
right.
know,
But
I
how are you
mean,
get better if you can't take constructive criticism and, you have to have a little bit
yeah,
of skin,
and
especially.
and that doesn't mean we're right, and that doesn't mean, I
Mhm.
mean, uh a friend of mine were writing a script together, and we sent it to a high level, I'm not going to say who, but we sent it to a high level director, like a huge director, like Hollywood director. And the Hollywood director, who's made movies that people know and love and
Mhm.
everything, gave us some critiques. And and we went back and we said, okay, this is what we agree with that needs to be changed. Let's fix this. Let's do that. there were some that we didn't want to get rid of because we liked
Yeah,
it, you know, and stuff.
yeah,
That doesn't mean he's right and we're wrong. Doesn't mean we're
yeah.
right and he's wrong. You know, it's a matter of like we took notes, or we asked for notes, we got
Hmm.
notes. We were, and I'm very big on notes. You know, if somebody tells me they critique me and they say that's wrong, you know, but then they tell me why that's wrong, I like
Hmm.
it. But
Yeah,
if somebody just says that that was a terrible line or that sucks or this is, you know, whatever, I don't listen to that anymore. I
yeah.
listen to like they have to tell us why this doesn't work or if they don't understand it or something, you know.
Only fair.
What?
It's only fair.
Only fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so Ghoul Scout Zombie Massacre, that was a lot of fun. It was goofy. So Shane and I did that. And I know one of the actresses in it. Uh, I love her to death. Unfortunately, she's retired from acting, and the movie came out after she retired from acting.
Oh
But she
well.
thought it was the movie that was gonna like get her more work and
Oh,
everything. And it didn't come out for like 8, 9 years, something like that. It's
that's something.
yeah, so it kind of sucks, but
Oh, she'll.
uh, you know, she hates the industry understandably because this industry is nasty. You know, I'm not gonna lie. Like there are abusive people
Mhm,
in it, and it can get really, really mean and make you feel bad and stuff
mhm,
and make you not want to do it at times. But the way I see it is if you really, really, really have acting or filmmaking in your blood, like you can't do anything else, you know. This young actress went on to do yoga, like she's a yoga instructor.
mm.
And if that's what she wants to do with her life, the actress from Mrs. Doubtfire, Lisa Jacob, she left acting in 2000, I think it was 2000 or so, around that time, and she left because she just didn't want to do it anymore. You
Mm.
know, she did it as a kid. She grew up. She had the choice after that, like, do I want to continue doing it or not? And she chose not to do it. You know. So if it's really in your blood, it's the only thing you think about in the morning or something like that, then you might want to take a break, but you're not gonna retire.
Mhm,
If this isn't something in your blood, you know, and everything, and you want to retire, I say go for it. Because you don't want to be miserable doing something you don't enjoy and
mhm.
with people you don't enjoy doing it with, you know,
Yeah.
and stuff. So it's sad that she left, but I'm glad she's doing something she enjoys. Um, Next is a little movie called Lake Dead. It was part of the After Dark Horror Fest. I don't know if you remember that, but there were these things called Eight Films to Die For, and
Yeah.
they were a bunch of collection of horror films from the Toronto After Dark Horror Fest, and there were like selections of it, and Lake Dead was one of them. I forgot it was Eight Films to Die For movie when I picked it, and I started watching. I go, this feels familiar. I
Uh-huh.
feel like I've seen this. So I looked it up and I go, that's right. I had this movie. I own this movie. It's somewhere in my collection in the studio. And as I used to try to collect all the eight films to die for. I don't think I succeeded in getting all eight. And I think there's more now because, you know, they put out like another eight or something, you know,
Mm.
I think. But the eight films to die for, the Toronto one, and this is Lake Dead, it was okay. There was points where I was like, I don't like the way they did certain stuff, and my guest was Nicole Shiflett, and she felt the same way. Like there were things that we both were like, I don't know why they did that, you know, that kind of thing. When a movie does that, when you start asking yourself that question, like, why did they go that direction? That's a writing thing, you know, generally, or maybe even directing. But it's it was no, it was not. It wasn't the greatest, and kind of I don't know why it was picked because it didn't have any big name actors or anything. I don't know why they chose those, but they did. They chose that one, and so I would not recommend that. But then my buddy who worked with Nicole, Lou Fraga, got to do 100 Tears, which Marcus Cook directed. So one of the guys from the second movie that we reviewed on 31 Days this year, um, he directed this movie called 100 Tears.
Mm.
A lot of people compare it to Terrifier or compare Terrifier to 100 Tears because
Oh,
100
wow.
Tears came out before, you know,
Okay.
and it was about a clown going around murdering people, and everything, and the people had to figure out how to stop him,
Wow.
from this. And he was not a demon; he was just a really messed up circus performer who lost his mind and went crazy and started killing people. And it was really good. And Marcus wrote back to us and said, in a comment, wrote, "Thank you guys so much for your review. I really liked what you had to say. If you guys have any questions, let's do a show together." So
Cool.
I'm like, I'm down. Like, I'd love to interview him about it. It's really, it. They compare it to it because it's really gory.
Yeah.
So like, there's this wonder if Damien Leone had seen it and
Hmm.
somehow or another, thought he could do a clown movie just like that, or whatever his own clown movie. And he got a lot, that movie blew up. Terrifier blew up, became a
Hmm.
huge franchise. Um, Mainly I think because we are just dying for new horror villains.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like we love Jason, we love Freddy, and we miss them, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Chucky's still around.
Yeah.
Um, Freddy and Jason are kind of in limbo right now.
Hmm.
Uh, Michael Myers, just take a break for a while, please. Like, they keep just running that shit into the ground. Um,
Yeah.
Victor Crowley from Hatchet is probably the only other person I can think of right now. So if like Victor versus um Art, that'd be fun, you know.
There you
I'd
go.
I'd watch that kind of movie. Um, but 100 Tears was really good. It's really
Cool.
fun, and I really enjoyed that one. Um, then there was let's see, I did the deep ones with my okay. So this is where it starts to become all girls the rest of the time. you
Oh.
know. So because and I'll get into that, but the Deep Ones was next, and that was H.P. Lovecraft's The Deep Ones. Christina Santiago came on
Hmm.
the show, and I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she's an actress out here.
Yeah.
A lot of these people are actors or actresses.
I film, I just produced these things.
Oh, so she was in that. Okay, awesome.
Hmm.
She's really sweet. And she came on. She was so excited. Like, I didn't expect her to be this excited to do this. When I ask people, I'm always like, especially actors, once again, it's kind of like filmmakers. A lot of them don't want to feel like they're trash talking about a person's work,
Hmm.
and stuff like that. When I mean, I'm telling them it's not it. We're not like Red Letter Media. Red Letter Media tends to be mean spirited with
Yeah.
their stuff. That's what they do. And then their followers are even worse in the comment sections and stuff. And that's the problem. It's like they're just making fun of people, saying things, blah blah blah. We don't do that.
Hmm.
Even if we know information that's pretty nasty about somebody or whatever, we would never talk about that. That's a personal opinion on stuff. We try to keep everything professional about the movie. You know,
Yeah.
you and I will, and other people I've had on my shows go on tangents about other stuff, but aside from that, like, yeah. So, um, but yeah, Christina got really excited, and I was like, okay, awesome, and she was great. So we had a fun time with it. I mean, it had some great moments and then some not so great moments in it.
Hmm.
It was pretty good. I mean, probably if I had to give it a star rating out of 5, I'd give it 3.5 stars. You know, it wasn't that bad. But then I was supposed to have a filmmaker. Fortunately, I'm not gonna say who or whatever. I'm not gonna say who, but I was gonna have a filmmaker. Unfortunately, they had to bow out. Is a male, filmmaker. He had to bow out. Um, Something popped up last minute, and he just couldn't do it. And so I frantically had to find somebody as quickly as I could, and I just could not find any guys who wanted to do it.
Yep.
And so I was like, well, either I just keep doing the rest of them, or I ask some girls and see if they can do it. so I asked Mary Kate, that was my next one, and we did Mega Snake together.
Okay,
And
cool.
oh man, that movie was fun.
Yeah.
And it was made for sci-fi.
Uh-huh.
There seemed to be somewhat of a budget on it. And uh it was just a blast. I had so much fun.
That's cool.
And then she had fun, so we were having fun just talking about it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that was a good one. And then I had already done earlier, and it was supposed to be the last, like the second to last episode. It was supposed to go yesterday. It went the day before yesterday. And it's Halloween night with my buddy Paul Presenza, who's my,
Mm-hmm.
Paul,
Yeah.
um, my podcast partner and producing partner. He and I did Halloween night. Not good. Um, I liked some of the cast members in the movie and stuff, but we were just like, this was really bad. And this
Oh,
was Asylum before they made Sharknado, like way before they made Sharknado. This was 2006, and I think Sharknado was 2013. So
okay.
like 7 years before they had made this movie, and it just was not. It was a slasher. It should have been a lot better than it was, honestly. And we were just weren't really that impressed by it. But it's called Halloween Night. It's basically Halloween ripoff. I
Mm-hmm.
think it was 2006, so I think they knew that the Rob Zombie Halloween was coming up,
Yeah.
so they wanted to capitalize on that. So
Yeah.
they did a Halloween night, so that if that's what the Asylum used to do is they would do like a movie before the
Mm.
people came out, so
Yeah.
that way
Themed.
uh it would confuse people when it comes out on video.
Uh,
So they would be like,
oh,
you
so
know,
this.
yeah, is this like they'll grab Halloween and but they'll accidentally grab Halloween night and they
Yeah.
bring that home and be like, this is not
This,
Halloween.
and yeah.
Or like the grandmother, like my favorite description, somebody described it as like the grandmothers would
Yeah.
pick it up for their grandson, thinking it was that movie. So
Oh,
like they did like the Avengers Grimm and they picked that up instead of the Avengers um uh Infinity War or Age of Ultron, whichever one it was at the time. And they
and they
picked that up and what?
and they thought they were just doing something really cool for their grandkid.
Right. And they bring it home and then their grandkids will be like, this isn't the movie. And it's rated R and has like probably worse things happening than, or whatever. So
Oh,
yeah, it was fun. Um, I like the Adventure Square movies, by the way. Those were fun. Um, But yeah, I see what they're doing there. And then last night I did by myself because once again I had somebody coming on and then they didn't know it was YouTube. The actress didn't know it was YouTube. And when I told her it was YouTube, she's like, I can't right now. I'm not feeling good. If this was just a podcast and I didn't have to show my face or whatever, which I guess I could have had them just go black or whatever, but I was like, I might as well just do it myself. And I
oh,
I did my own review and solo review, and it was fun.
oh,
It was good. It was
yeah.
called Werewolf Santa.
Maybe next time you can just throw their picture up and just do audio.
Yeah, that's what we could have. That's what I was thinking. We could have done that, but oh well.
Well,
Um,
learn.
they weren't feeling good anyway, so it was better that
Yeah.
uh they would go. They were telling me like after they said sorry, I can't do it, then they went to bed.
Oh,
So yeah, they would not have wanted to come on probably on the
oh,
show. So I was okay with that. I was like, let me just do it myself, and everything worked out.
yeah.
Um,
Things always
so
work
that
out.
was it. That was, and then this one, Hayride to Hell, which I really do think I ended on like one of the best of the movies. Pleasantly surprised. Did not know. This just popped up in my recommended. And I saw it say "Hey Ride to Hell," and I thought, "Hey Ride Halloween." I think they said something about Halloween, and in
Yeah.
the movie they mentioned Halloween. You know,
Yeah.
um, they had 30 days to win these people over and everything, and 30 days was going to be the end of Halloween, so they wouldn't need to worry about them whatever.
Oh,
Uh,
right.
but
Perfect.
yeah, but anyway, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it, and I'm hoping that you know. I'm hoping more people check it out. It's on Tubi. I don't know how long. I never know how long these movies are going to stay. Sometimes they stay for like years, and sometimes they stay for like a few months and then they
Yep.
go away. So, if it is on Tubi when uh, when you get a chance, or any of these are on Tubi when you get a chance, check them out. Like, even if I don't like them and I say that it
I mean,
wasn't
you
for me,
yeah.
does not mean like, yeah, doesn't even mean you wouldn't like them, Brandy. Like,
Mhm.
you might have liked the movies that I didn't like. I can't say that for like that you would or wouldn't. Everybody has their own taste.
That's
Uh,
right.
some people love bad movies, I just like bad movies when they are just so bad that like the director didn't know that they were making a bad movie. My favorite ones like that are like The Room, you know,
Yeah.
where the director just didn't know he was doing something bad. And
Mm.
then my other favorite one is Troll 2, where
Ugh.
the director has gotten upset that people think it's a bad movie. So I did not make a bad. He's Italian. He's like, I didn't make a bad movie,
Yeah.
whatever, right? And he made a bad movie. He's made really good ones, you
Hmm.
know. And so everybody has, even John Carpenter's made a bad movie once in a while. Like, you know, they're just his bad movies are just better than, other people's good movies. Like sometimes, or whatever. Um, so anyway, I really enjoyed Hayride to Hell. I enjoyed doing this season.
Cool.
So as I kind of explained, I think earlier that I was gonna do you mentioned sort of what my plan is for next year. So
Yeah.
next year I'm calling it the final chapter. And that's a Friday the 13th part four um homage. Because in Friday the 13th part four they called it the final chapter, but
Hmm.
everybody knew that that wasn't gonna be the final chapter, right? So I'm saying a final chapter, meaning that I might take a year, two, three. I don't know. I may not take any time, and I don't know. Bring it back the next year. I
Right.
don't know.
Okay.
I have no clue right now. I can't say. But for now, I do sort of want, since this is season five coming up, I
Yeah.
want it to sort of be, if it's my, if I'm gonna do a last one, I do want to end it on 5 or 10. And so a lot of my podcasts and stuff are only going to get up to about season 10. And then other than Indie Film Cafe, I think we're going to do that until me and Paul are done. We just
Mhm.
can't do it anymore, or whatever. Or unless one of us gets really famous and then just,
Never
but the
know.
other one can continue doing it. I don't care. But yeah, that kind of thing. Unless something like that happens where uh our film career blows up, and everything. So hopefully we'll continue to do it. I mean, I would like to get to season 20, you know.
Yeah.
Like that would be like a monumental like time. But Paul says he's got enough to go through infinity. Like he's got so many bad movies that he knows of, or movies period. And there are a lot of indie films. That's why I wanted to create 31 Days of Indie Horror, because there's so many indie horror films that
Mm.
are out there that we just wouldn't be able to get to, you
Yeah.
know, and stuff and talk about. And I wanted to use those this year. So next year, since it's going to be potentially the last one, if not, I will call the next season the new beginning, you know,
Yeah.
and start it up again. But if it is the last one, I want to go all out. So we are going to have, I think the plan for now is two people every episode. So I'm gonna have, how many is that? Like 64, I guess, but something like that. Like 62 maybe, whatever it is. But we're gonna have like a lot of people. So it's gonna be 31 days with that
Yeah.
many people, and that's gonna be a lot of work
Absolutely.
because just
And
get one person
just,
sometimes.
oh, I get two.
Yeah, now I gotta get to. But it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna have you're invited back. Everybody that was in this season is definitely invited back, and people who were in former seasons that wasn't in this season.
Hmm.
Because a lot of the season was doing was it female, male, female, male kind of. all the
Yeah.
way down the
Yeah.
line, it's going to be it's there's not going to be like a pattern,
Yeah.
or there might be two females, there might be one for guests, there might be one female, one male. There may be two males. It doesn't matter. It'll just it's
Work out.
just going to be whoever I can get and stuff and sign up.
Yeah.
So hopefully yeah, hopefully this will be a lot of fun for next season. So that'll be October 1st. And I'm gonna start recording in January so I can start getting these knocked out,
Yeah.
because I don't want to be struggling at the end like I did again. This just
That's,
killed me, you
yeah.
know. If I can get them done before then, I'll definitely try. So I've got people I've been already talking to, and I know I was going to talk to you because, you're definitely always welcome back.
Thank you.
You had a fun time with this. Also, we're having you back for Indie Film Cafe at some point. So
We
because you
did
had a fun time on that one where we did the
the brain
was
that I,
the brain who didn't die.
yeah.
Yeah. And we just did another Brain movie. I can't say what, for Indie Film Cafe that Paul picked. And I'm just like,
Ooh, cool.
he and his Brain movies have nothing to do with brains. They're not brains. They're like heads. You know. But I want to see a brain. Like my friend and I were talking about how it should have been a talking brain. That would have been awesome. You know. But nah. I guess we got to make that a movie with saying like the brain who wouldn't die, but it's really an actual brain that just keeps moving or something, moving around,
Thing.
puppet brain.
Yeah.
Paul would love that. Paul loves puppets, so
Uh,
puppet brain.
yeah.
You know
Cow brain.
what?
A cow brain.
Cow brain, and you're just giving me ideas right now. Like, yeah, the cow brain that wouldn't die.
He'll be all over that.
Oh, dude, he'd be like, can I wear a cow suit? Sure, Paul. You
It's
know.
for cow.
Um, yeah, he has his cow onesie. I've got a cow onesie
I
too.
did too.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious. When
Yeah.
you gotta come down to Virginia and we can all be in our cow onesie. We did that before with my friend Stephanie. We went
Oh,
so Stephanie, I contacted because we were going up to her house. She lives up in Maryland, and she was like, and I think you were in Maryland at the time that we were doing it or something, maybe, or
yeah.
close.
Yeah.
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 So we went up there,
You
uh
did. Right.
and we didn't tell Paul
Yeah.
that we were gonna all have cow onesies, right? And
Yeah.
he knew I didn't have one,
Uh-huh.
and then I had a walrus one,
Uh,
and so he thought I was just bringing my walrus onesie.
uh,
So he brought his cow. We made sure we told him, you got to bring your cow onesie. We got to see that because we got to get a tape of you and your cow onesie and
yeah.
stuff like that. I was, oh, okay. No idea that
Yeah.
what was in store. So he comes down after getting dressed, sees Stephanie and her friend,
Just like cows.
Nicole, dressed up like cows. And he was like, oh, he thought, wow, they have cow onesies too. That's awesome. Then I come down
Uh-huh.
dressed up in a cow onesie, and he's like, "Wait a minute,
What's going
you
on here?
don't have a cow onesie, right?" And it was the cutest thing.
Does.
Yeah, but unfortunately, one of our friends, Tori, was kind of brought in at the last minute,
Yeah.
and she couldn't get. She had another onesie, but she didn't have a cow onesie. So
Oh,
everybody else bought a cow onesie just for this
oh,
occasion. So I bought one from eBay and
yeah.
everything. And
Yeah.
it was fun. It was well worth it. And I love it because it has udders. Not
Oh,
many of the cow onesies
yeah.
actually have the udders.
Yeah.
So not even Paul's has the udders on. Maybe he has one that does, but anyway, yeah, a cow brain that wouldn't die. I think he would go crazy. But even if it's a short, you
Yeah.
know, he'd have a blast, especially if I said we can get a puppet cow brain. He'd be like, ah, like I'd go crazy. I think that would be great. Anyway, everybody, hope you guys enjoyed this season. It's been pretty nutty, pretty nutty. There's been a lot. And all my guests have been wonderful. Haven't had like a guest that didn't have a good time, reviewing the movies, because at least the movies just like like when especially like when I did like this Mega Snake, you just see that title and you're like, ah, that's gonna be goofy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So you're just hoping that it's good, you know? And it was. I think so, you know,
Yeah.
pretty good. So, yeah, so keep checking back next year. We'll have a brand new season. I did take a break last year and didn't do it, but I ended up still doing stuff, so I was still busy. But this year I wanted to bring it back because I kind of missed it. Kind of missed doing this. It takes me a break from doing the indie film cafe where I'm rating it
Mm-hmm.
and I have to like I don't really have to be that critical, you know. I
Yeah.
just have to watch it and just kind of say my thoughts, and everything. And if people don't agree, that's fine. You don't have
Yeah.
to agree.
Yeah.
Um, you don't have to like anything I like. There's a filmmaker that I'm really good friends with, Steve Rudzinski. He'd probably agree with me on this. We both don't like the same movies, you know? So anytime he says, I really like this movie, I have a feeling, a suspicion I'm not going to, or when I post, I really like something, he'll be
Mm-hmm.
like, oh man, I couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
It's just everybody has their own taste. And I don't get mad if he doesn't like what I like. I don't like that. I
Mhm.
don't like this. Everybody has to like everything that everybody makes.
Right.
Right? Like, I had one filmmaker, won't say who, but Paul and I didn't like the movie and
Hmm.
we reviewed it
Hmm.
and we said our real thoughts. We never said, don't watch this movie or
Hmm.
whatever, or you shouldn't, whatever. In fact, we did say, watch it. The thing was, the guy got mad because he sent us the movie for free,
Uh-huh.
sent us all the swag with it, which I mean, we kept, and put up and everything. But he was expecting like praise
Yeah.
because everybody else praised the movie.
Yeah.
And so like we were wrong. And I was
Hmm.
just like, yeah,
It's all right.
no, we weren't wrong. It was just not our cup of tea, you know?
Yeah,
Uh,
happens.
well, yeah. I mean, I don't like torture porn. And even if somebody doesn't think their movie is torture porn, if you are torturing people
Hmm.
for no reason except pure enjoyment and stuff, I'm not into it,
Yeah.
you know? Like Saul, at least there's a reason for it, so I don't call it torture porn. Other people do, but I don't. Uh yeah, that movie was torture porn, and I didn't enjoy it. I don't enjoy that kind of stuff. I
Hmm.
I want
Right.
or if it's Terrifier, if it's art and he's torturing people, make it fun. Art is fun. He makes jokes, kind of thing. Like he's a mime, basically, though he's a clown, but he's basically a mime. He doesn't speak and he kind of acts goofy, and stuff. That I'm okay with. As long as he looks like he's having fun and the audience is having fun with it, I'm okay with it.
Right.
If they're doing it because they're just really messed up people in the world, I don't need to see that. I mean, there's enough of that already in the
Hmm.
world, you know. So,
Yeah, you're right.
anywho, that's it. That's my opinion on things. Check back next year for a brand new season. Thank you, Brandy, so much for coming on last minute and chatting with us and
Of course.
about this and just telling I mean, once again, this is probably my favorite of this season. So I would highly, highly recommend this movie. Bill Moseley and Kane Hodder need to be. They're like Abbott and Costello to me. They need to be in more movies.
Yeah,
Seriously, I would watch that in a second. Kane and Bill, just do it.
let's
You know.
do it.
All right, everybody. Hope you guys had a fun time and join us next year for a brand new season. Until then, everybody. Bye.